Today we're going to discuss questions to ask yourself, your IT department, and your vendors, and how to choose the best solution with the lowest risk and ensure smooth implementation. What I will be discussing is a simple standalone piece of software. Your mileage may vary. If you have multiple sites, integrations with other software in or outside the print center, this can impact their needs. My purpose is to provide you with a suggested framework to use when you're adding or changing software or equipment that uses IT in some manner. Who is MTD? MTD, we're headquartered in Valley City, Ohio, and our passion has led us to be a worldwide leader of outdoor power equipment. We make brands like Troy-Bilt, Craftsman, Cub Cadet, and we have facilities all over the United States and Europe, Asia, Australia, and Africa. Our print center produces items like for manufacturing forms, and we produce manuals for the product. And we also do a lot of postcards, after purchase postcards, and signage. Like Frank Romano said the other night, it's a rapidly evolving world. Software deployment is changing rapidly. You don't just put a server in a closet in your shop anymore. Move from single applications on dedicated on-site servers to virtual servers hosting many applications, sometimes in the cloud. Partnering with IT. For application owners, it is IT's job to provide infrastructure and open doors to the end users. Make sure company assets are safe and secure, and provide best practices consulting. IT has many other priorities. Support for internally developed systems, securing the company network, managing the corporate desktop and mobile environments, data warehousing, disaster recovery, backup and storage of data, to name a few. Your implementation is probably not the highest thing on the priority list. So how do you work with IT so the implementation goes quickly?
The sooner you align yourself with IT on projects early on in the stages of your thought process and purchasing or whatever, the better off you're going to be. That's real.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was going to say. You know, for IT, you have to plan ahead, establish milestone dates, determine go-live dates, and work back from there. Engage early, which is basically what you said. Notify IT as soon as possible what's being planned so they get you on their priority list and assign a resource. IT can help answer and ask critical questions and propose possible solutions. IT is your asset, not your enemy. And they told me, I talked to my IT department, they read over this whole presentation, and they said, yes, don't be afraid of IT. What I do with my maintenance guys, when I need something, I always bake them cookies, and they're always there in a minute. Questions to ask yourself. Does your data need to be secure, private, like healthcare, financial, and government? Do you have records retention policies? And who are your end users, internal versus external? And how will they authenticate? How will customers pay? With a credit card or internal chargeback? What systems do the software need to share information with? If you know these answers ahead of time, you will be further ahead. Having answers to some key questions beforehand saves time and jumpstarts the IT process. Will my web-to-print software be hosted internally or externally? How will my users log in, and will their data be pre-populated? And do we self-register or use our network login? What will I call the application? Decide on a name and a URL that is easy to remember and use, and SSL encryption for the URL. Always recommended. And SSL is...
Secure socket layer.
What is it?
Secure socket layer.
Okay, thanks. And I knew that. Didn't think of it. A few years ago, we implemented an online ordering system, and I didn't contact IT, and I sent out an email to the corporate campus, and IT was very upset with me because they didn't know anything about it, and They were worried about the security, and so you always got to contact them first. Funding head, are there corporate requirements, computer usage policies, and how often do I do backups? For an on-site system, who is responsible for making and storing backups? How much data can I afford to do without if something major happens, like a flood or a fire? Backup and disaster recovery always carry price tag. For a hosted cloud system, ask your vendor, how are they backing up and how often? What is the service level agreement?
Does everybody have backup on their servers? I mean, some folks that we worked with in the past have sort of said, oh no, I don't really need backup, or my IT is going to take care of it, or whatever, but it's kind of a critical thing nowadays, especially since these systems are becoming, sort of mission critical. You rely on them so much that it's always got to be something you ask yourself, or you ask what you're on. Right.
So we have an interesting situation at BYU where there's a university IT group, and they spend millions of dollars on IT infrastructure. And so that we have our own internal cloud, right? And we can get virtual servers through them, all of that kind of stuff. We also have our own little IT department just for our group, and we interface, they interface back and forth. Well, we have put a lot of stuff on our internal cloud with our big IT group for the university, right? Well, they had a crash, right? And yes, they had backups, but we were so low on the priority list, they were trying to get other critical applications up that we went a week where our customers couldn't do, web to print stuff. They couldn't access our website, etc. because, they had our data and they had our websites and all this kind of stuff. They had our servers all backed up, but since we were such low, we were not a critical application, in the big IT scheme of things. So it took us quite a while to actually recover.
Yeah.
So we have since bought, we started moving more their direction and outsourcing more to our internal cloud. We still use them, but now we have a fail-safe, and we've bought some more internal servers that we manage in our department. We've got our own backup, so if we're low man on the totem pole, that's okay. We can still manage and do it ourselves. Yeah. It's an interesting, you kind of caught catch-22.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, we have a similar situation. Obviously, we've got the whole IT infrastructure for the state, and they happen to be housed across the street from us, which is kind of nice, and some of the people in the staff actually work within our organization too. But one thing, I can't emphasize more is testing the backup.
Yeah.
It's a requirement to do a full-on test. Many vendors say yes, we verified the data's there. Well, verify that you can get back up. Verify what is the time frame. Very similar with the situation where we have the systems go down and we have our own internal backups.
I want to let you know I have a handout that my company gives to people when they want to get new software, and you guys can have. If you want to take it out, that's fine. Yeah.
Nope, that works.
We can hand them up. She's not going to cover it.
No, it goes along with the planning ahead part. You don't need to recreate the wheel. Use as many current practices as possible when you're planning.
On-site versus hosted, just a list of things here that are, that are different between the two. So, and you can read some of that, right?
We host everything. We can't have everything hosted somewhere else.
Right. Some people want everything hosted, and other people can't have anything hosted. So you're kind of split.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about security. IT can help minimize risk. Firewalls and networks. They can protect the network and keep the internal network separate from the internet. Balance ease of use for customers with security and match the level of security with the sensitivity in the data. IT can ensure a successful rollout. Does the vendor meet your corporate requirements? Does the vendor have experience in your industry? And do you have direct access to the software vendor? How do you know they're knowledgeable? Does the vendor have a resource that can talk at the same level as your IT team? And do they understand your needs and how to meet them? mitigating security requirements within your industry, able to successfully handle security scans, and use best practices when building the following: software applications, operating system, network infrastructure, authentication, and encryption. And what do their other customers say about their experience? You always want to talk to other customers, make sure that they have a good experience with them. And we have the best practices. Always use SSL if exposed to the internet. Use secure authentication, disclaimers, copyright for HIPAA, forms management. Our secure service is not enabled by default, like FTP, and business continuity and disaster recovery options. And my IT department was very helpful with this presentation. And I want to thank RSA for helping me out, and thank you all for coming. Unless there's any more questions or comments.
Thank you.